And a pleasant good morning to each and every one of you, and welcome into the Power Lunch. I'm your host, Kenneth Forte. So glad to have you with us on today. It is a beautiful day outside, and we have really just wonderful weather over the next couple of days. It is going to be warm. We'll also keep you updated. We encourage you to go to our Facebook page and you check out our schedule of events and things that are going on here at 1015 The Ride as we're gearing up for football season. We'll have all of that for you as well. We remind you tomorrow night, on the 9th of August, is the second annual Adult Team Spelling Bee. It's not your fourth grade spelling bee. Our friends from Reading Empowerment for Adults in Dickson County sponsoring the event, and audience is welcome. It deals, of course, Read focuses on adult literacy programs helping both English and non-English speakers. And so this is a second annual Adult Team Spelling Bee. It's going to be held at Tensco Community Center tomorrow night at 6:30. You can register online at DixonReads.org. At DixonReads.org. All proceeds benefit Read's adult literacy program. So we want to encourage you to keep that in mind on your calendar. And if you're looking for something to do tomorrow night, it's a great opportunity to go and enjoy. It's from what I understand, it is the coolest thing. So don't be surprised if you see me there. It's not your fourth grade spelling bee, but it's a lot of fun from what I understand. We're so glad to have back in the studio with us today our good friend Matt Wade. We are dealing with trauma. We're going to be talking about trauma.
Yeah, we deal with it, all right.
we deal with it as well. Really appreciate all the comments on the shows in which Matt has been a part of, and he and I had this conversation, last year, wanting to get him on to come and just. As people are going through so much, we still have people dealing with COVID and coming out of that and the mental aspect of that. And there's a lot of things going on in our society and in our world that impacts us individually, professionally, personally, in our families, in our homes. And so we're trying to, as often as his schedule allows, at least have him here once a month or every other month, because he is a very, very busy man, and we appreciate all your feedback and comments when he's been here. And because I've had a number of you really like, who was that? The counselor you had on. And so we appreciate your feedback, and we hope that this show adds value, as it does to me personally, but adds value to our listening audience. And we're dealing, so many people are in the midst of dealing with some type of trauma, and there's so many different types. But Matt, first of all, bring people up to speed with a few of the changes that are going on in your world, because we talked about it before when you were here the last time, but it seems like it's been a month or two.
It has, yeah, and some things have developed with our private practice here in Dickson, and we also have a location in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And some time ago, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, I began entering into a conversation about what it would be like to join the clinical team at a place right up the road from us in Cumberland Furnace, about 25 or 30 minutes from here, and to join the team of a place called Onsite. And I really kind of went back and forth of, do I want to be there full time? Do I want to remain in private practice? And the type of work and the type of team that Onsite offers, I felt like it was a right move for me. And I still have our private practice, and my colleague, India Lacerda, who is in the Nashville location, she's still moving forward with that. And I'm still doing some intensives only with couples. So they come for 3 days at a time, and people from all over the country, actually, it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Somehow they find us and they come and spend. People end up that's never heard of Dickson, Tennessee, find an Airbnb here, and they come and stay, and we work on their relationship for 3 days. So it's pretty remarkable. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to continue to do a little bit of that, not much, because of the demands that I have now at Onsite, and I officially joined the team June 1st as kind of onboarding.
Okay.
But, working out there, when you're onboarding out there, it's kind of like good barbecue. It's low and slow.
Yeah.
There's nothing fast about
Yep.
it. It's like cool molasses, right?
Yes.
Which I appreciated. I needed it to go slow because I had to wind down my weekly clients here locally.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to have client abandonment and just say, oh, peace out, I got a job. Because it's not a job, really. It's just a continuation of what we've been doing in Dixon. I just get to do it at a next level.
Yeah.
Because on-site is next level care.
It is next level.
It is next level care. I'm blown away that I get to be a part of the clinical team there. And actually, I don't know when this show will air, but tomorrow morning will be my first official lecture at on-site. And so we do, a program will start on a Thursday evening and go through a Tuesday morning there. So you're there for that many days of the week doing your intensive type work of whatever you want to come there as an individual. We also have a coupleship program, and it's all group therapy based. So one of my roles there will be to do a lot of psychoeducation. So the things that I talk about with you today,
Yeah.
and the things that I've spoken with you we've done interviews before,
Yeah.
those are the type things that we do in lecture style. But it's really more of a conversation than it is
Yeah.
a lecture. We invite a group of up to 60 people will be there.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it's a very large.
That's-
Yeah.
Is it more of a teaching kind of situation,
Well, it's
or
a
are
great-
these people that are entering into some type of trauma
Yes,
program?
it's a trauma-informed care facility,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe a retreat is the better way of putting it.
Okay.
So the idea is, let's say that you decided you want to work on yourself in a retreat style, right, in group therapy.
Okay.
That's what this is, that you would
Yeah.
join you along with anywhere between 45 to 60 other people. And then you all break out into different group rooms, and you'll have 6 to 9 people in one group
Yeah.
with one therapist, or what we call out there as a guide.
Yeah.
And what you do is you work on yourself in the power of group therapy for that many days.
Yeah.
But every morning at 8:15 we have meditation, and then at 8:45 for 1 hour we lecture, or we actually bring people into a large group conversation about the topic of the day. And every day there's a specific topic based on what program you've signed up to be in.
Yeah.
So the kind of the widest net program that we have there, the one that everybody is kind of like
Yeah.
where you start. You can start anywhere, but it's
Yeah.
kind of the one people know. It's called the Living Centered program.
Well, and the thing about Matt, it used to be there was such a stigma with mental health and with
Yeah.
people needing.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we're all honest with ourselves, is sometimes at some point we really need to go through the experience of rebuilding
Oh yes.
ourselves. And it doesn't, and I think some people think it has to be something major, but it's not always something
Not always
major.
major. No,
It's just, it's sometimes it's just life.
it's life. Well, let's define trauma.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yes, let's do that.
You got to cut me off when we need to go to a break now, because I get going and I get excited, and so.
You're good.
So I think we need to look at trauma a little bit more broadly.
Okay.
Because we would think trauma is, maybe we experienced a traumatic death in the family.
Yeah.
Or we were sexually abused, or we were abandoned as children. And yes, obviously that is trauma. But one of the greatest definitions of trauma that I've ever heard is this: an overwhelming life experience.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know of anyone that has not had an overwhelming life experience,
Yes.
right? So
And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that was so, even as dramatic as a death or the
that is
loss.
correct.
It's
could
just,
be a breakup.
yeah.
It could be the dissolution of a long-term friendship. Mm-hmm. It could be spiritual bypassing.
It just could be the pressures of life.
It could be that's the point. It's overwhelming life experience.
Yeah.
Right? And let me speak to the spiritual bypassing point, because often people are not aware of what that is.
Hold that thought. I didn't
we'll come back to that.
because we're going to go. Yeah, I want us
that
to.
one.
I don't want to cut us off
fine.
in
We'll
that.
do it. We'll come back.
in the middle of that, because I want us to let you really go into that one.
Sure.
All right, we take our first break. With us today is Matt Wade, and we're talking trauma. And we're, one of the things that I'm going to ask Matt to do is to kind of give us some what I call soft tips that will help us. So we'll ask him for those at some point in this show. Some things that will help us on a day-to-day basis. There are some things that I'm and just in my studies and in the classes I've taken that you can do on a day-to-day basis to just encourage ourselves.
That's right.
Through the trauma. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment here on the Power Lunch on 101.5 The Ride. All right, we're back here on the Power Lunch. Kenneth Forte along with Matt Wade. I don't know whether to call you counselor.
Just Matt.
I don't know. Matt Works Wade.
Matt Works Wade. It's funny.
Okay, I cut you off before you got, because we were about to go into a topic, and you were about to explain some things that I didn't want to cut you off in the middle.
No worries.
To take a commercial break. So I'm going to just toss it over to you.
Yeah, and this is going to be a tough one because of where we are in the country.
Yeah.
Right? We're in the South, man. We're in the heart of the Bible Belt, right? And spiritual bypassing is something that happens every Sunday. And it's actually traumatic for believers.
Yeah.
It's trauma. Because spiritual bypassing is when you've had a big event happen in your life or something, let's just say something painful, something overwhelming.
Yeah.
And somebody dismisses you by saying, well, just pray about it.
Yes.
Well, God needed another angel.
Yeah. My thoughts and prayers.
Please don't get me started. I would say things on the radio that would get me and you both fired, right?
That's okay. I know the owner. We might
You know the owner. We
can
might
work.
be okay. We can edit that part.
Yeah.
Right? That's spiritual bypassing. It's using spiritual lingo to not deal with the reality of someone's pain. It's using Bible verses to dismiss people because you don't know how to handle what they're going through.
Yes.
It's being insensitive to someone's suffering while using the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's actually, and please hear this piece, that's actually traumatic to the nervous system because the nervous system is reaching for comfort and connection. We are wired for bonding. We are wired for connection as humans.
Yeah. But to your point, when people don't know what to say,
They'll say anything crazy.
Yeah, and they'll do it under the auspices of Christianity or Jesus. You know, we know that the Bible says earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. But do you know what that means?
Sure. Yeah, and it's like whenever I am reaching for comfort and help,
Yeah.
it's my nervous system's way of saying if someone doesn't come for me, this is actually going to hurt worse if I have to do it alone. See, the idea here is that's why we call it co-regulation. There's this companion, this connection. The way that I'm regulated is to be in a safe relationship with a wiser, stronger, kinder, gentler other that can come alongside of me and go, I don't have the answer, but I do have a hug.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to you, so I'm just going to sit with you in silence. And a beautiful thing in neuroscience called neuroception happens there. And neuroception is the body's built-in smoke alarm system. And it's actually in the gut. That's why it's called the second brain. So what happens is just me sitting with you alone, neuroception happens and helps your nervous system regulate. Even when I don't say a word, I can be calmed because of your presence in my life.
The challenge that I think a lot of people have is that we like noise.
Oh my gosh, it distracts us from what we're really facing. We love noise.
Yeah, we think we can. to your point, I don't have to talk you through the hurt. Sometimes I just need to
Hear the hurt.
hear the hurt.
And sit with it with you.
Yeah.
Well, the idea that we love noise is, it's like, part of the reason is because how our brain interprets what's happening is that we just want to put language with what we're feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, right. We just want to put language with what we're feeling. And that's wonderful. But if the language is dismissive, if the language is bypassing the reality, now I'm actually traumatized more because I'm reminded that I'm still in this alone.
Wow.
And if our caregiver system in our homes was dismissive, the nervous system reaches all the way back to childhood and says, see, you're still alone.
Yeah.
You don't have anybody to reach for. The nervous system is used to not having someone to reach for. So the nervous system does one of two things. It either protects or projects. It protects by shutting us down. And we can talk about that whole nervous system piece later. But it protects by shutting us down, or we project by exhibiting maladaptive behaviors.
And that becomes a part of the impact of the trauma.
Yes, it is. Let me say it like this. Okay, let's talk. I'm going to put a little Bible in it.
Okay.
Because you and I both have been pastors.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Unfortunately. I'm just joking. Right? I'm just joking. I'm kind of joking. Can we edit that part out? So the nervous system or the trauma, right? I'm going to make a couple little statements here about it. All of sin, let's say majority of sin, if we want to talk Bible, because we're in the Bible Belt, right?
Yep.
Because people go, why do people act like that? It's because they're sinners. Oh, well, really what's happening is they're generally, the maladaptive behavior, what is called sin, is really nothing more than a response to the trauma that's happened to their life that they probably didn't ask for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes very good sense.
So what you call sin, I would just call a trauma response.
Trauma response. Yes.
Well, now we have hope for it. Because trauma, our bodies can be rewired just like electrical circuits, neural pathways and other things. We can be rewired so that the maladaptive behavior does no longer become the coping mechanism to deal with the pain of what's happening inside of me.
So a lot of times we see people acting out of their inability to cope with what's the trauma
Say it again
is.
and say it loud.
So I mean that's
exactly what's happening.
We're acting out.
So what you're labeling people as bad sinners, I'm just saying no. You're looking at someone that has been traumatized, and their body has yet to figure out how to cope with that in a healthy way. So we have maladaptive behaviors. We have addictions of all sorts. We have whatever it may be, right? Too much drinking, too much weed, too much whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a trauma response.
But it's our human way of adapting.
It's the only way that we know to adapt.
Yeah.
We reach for whatever gives us comfort.
Yeah.
And often we reach for what we see somebody else reach for. So some of it's a learned behavior. They were able to deal with it by over drinking. Let me try that. Or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Eating.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in our country, particularly in the South, overeating is the greatest accepted drug. Nobody preaches against overeating because our preachers are overweight.
Yeah. Because we go to people's houses on the Sunday morning, if it's Sunday afternoon.
And we medicate with food. But that's accepted. So we even begin to pick and choose how we cope with trauma and what we call it at that point. That's kind of I kind of took a right-hand turn there.
No, but that's true because it's all around our ability or inability at times to adapt to the trauma that has happened. So and when I say adapt, I mean move away from it.
Let me correct that a little bit.
Okay.
I love that
Yeah,
you said. I love that you said not adapt, because we don't adapt to trauma.
No.
We move through.
Okay,
the trauma.
move through. Okay.
And that's what you mean by moving away.
Yeah.
We mean the same thing. We're just having different language.
But I like your language
Yeah.
better because
But it's moving
because if
through it.
because if I can move through it,
yeah.
you
Now
know,
I can heal from it.
Yes.
But the idea that I can just wish it away or pray it away.
That's
not
the
a
move
reality.
away from it.
That's the move away. That's
yeah.
trying to distance myself. But
Yeah.
please hear this statement. I can't distance myself from what is in me.
I gotta take a commercial break. That's deep, but that's so true. And we're gonna come back and we gotta, as we said, we gotta park right there for a minute.
Parallel park for a moment.
All right, we'll take a break. We're back in just a moment. You're tuned into the Power Lunch on 101.5 The Ride. All right, we're back here on the Power Lunch. I'm Kenneth Forte, and I'm so glad to have you along with us. Matt Wade is with us, and we are talking about dealing with trauma and survival, the impact, and the recovery. And let me, since we're talking about that, let me share this with our listening audience as well. On August the 14th through the 16th at 7 p.m., the Apostolic Revival Center is having a Revive and Thrive, a spiritual revival for mental wellness. And their special guest is Elder Jonathan White, who is a licensed professional clinical counselor and pastor of New Jerusalem Apostolic Church in Springfield, Tennessee. And I felt, since we were talking about trauma and mental health on this show, that was a great opportunity to share that with you. And that's, again, August 14th through 16th.
And what a gift that a church
Yeah.
is doing this.
Yes.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
That a church is doing this. So
Yeah.
bravo to them.
And it is a matter of, I think we have to, all of us have to understand, and the church has to understand, it's made up of people.
I mean, traumatized people.
It is made, and it's because, people who sit in who, whether they go to church, whether they don't go to church, or whatever their choice of worship is, and whatever there is still the trauma of life that we deal with. We all deal with on an ongoing basis, and a daily basis. And the challenge becomes, Matt, is that when we don't address those traumas, then we sit in them, as you were talking about before the break, and we never move through them.
That's right. And then we start adapting to them. Mm-hmm. And we adapt through maladaptive behavior.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Trauma leaks. It leaks.
Yeah.
And it leaks through, again, behavior, addictions, what have you.
Yes.
And if we don't move through it, Kenneth, if we can't sit in it and it go away. In fact, and I'm formulating this thought as I'm saying it, but I felt this thing. Mm-hmm. I am now responsible for 3 to 4 more generations of trauma.
Yeah.
Because if I received it generationally, then I can pass it generationally.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I think that
I'm sorry, there was a statement that at a marriage conference I had shared several years ago that says this. If we don't know our family history, it could become our family legacy. Now, I understand some people can't know their family history.
Yeah.
But what you can do is look at your own behaviors and go, either I got those from my hard wiring, from my caregivers,
Yeah.
or from an abusive relationship or whatever. You can point to and go, that's where
Yeah.
it started. If we can't point to where it started, then chances are it's epigenetically passed. And it's so wise for us to go and discover kind of what's happening in us. Why do I respond that way? Why do I feel that way?
Yeah.
Why is it when I get around this person, alarm bell goes off? Why is it that whenever someone looks at me a certain way, I want to shrink back and I get scared, or I want to fight? Something is happening there.
And it's even, why am I accepting the things that I'm accepting when I'm in a negative or a bad relationship?
Yes, sir. Why am I so codependent?
Yes.
Accepting what I
Yeah.
shouldn't accept.
Yes.
Why am I allowing for that to be okay?
And it comes to what I've seen, what I've experienced, what has been. There is truth to generational curses.
Yes.
And so, and I always tell people, and I've always said, we are a product of our environment.
Kenneth.
Whatever our environment was
Yes, Kenneth.
and is,
Yes,
we
Kenneth.
are a product of that.
We
And
are.
if we don't fix that, and let's say we were in a, we saw, let's say we saw our parents or our grandparents, someone being abused,
Yep.
and it became a normalcy,
That's right.
then I'm building up a codependency like I saw,
That's correct.
and grandmama
That's
and,
right.
and
We
auntie
just
and
kinda
family.
start mirroring
Yes.
the trauma. Because again, epigenetically, it's passed, right?
Yes.
Even if I didn't see it, it can be passed. But definitely, if I saw it,
Yes.
yeah, of course. If they survived through it, then I'll be fine. They made through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're in so much pain, right? You're in
Yes.
so much dysregulation. Yeah.
Yeah, because hey, it mimics reality. Television, what we see, TV, and things that we experience in family growing up, it mimics our reality comes from that.
Yes.
And so
me-
we have to be able to do something to address that trauma.
We have to. Yeah. Do you know there was an experiment done in 1993? So I mean, in 2013. I'm sorry. It's only 11 years old,
No, yeah.
which is recent. That's pretty good. It's not
Yeah.
30 or 40 years old. And it was the mice and cherry blossom experiment. Have you ever heard of this?
I've not heard
This
of
is
that.
wild. They basically took, mice, they catch
Yeah.
it all. Right? Rats
Yeah.
catch it all, right? The
Yeah.
mice were basically put in a cage, and a scent of cherry blossom was blown into their cage, and at the same time, their foot was shocked. Just a little micro shock to their body.
Yes.
Now, this is what was fascinating. They did that experiment 2 or 3 times where they shocked the mouse, cherry blossom shock, cherry blossom shock. That mouse had baby mice. Every time they blew cherry blossom into the babies, the mice would jump like they'd been shocked. That's epigenetics.
Yeah.
That's how trauma is passed. And as intelligent human beings,
Yeah.
much more intelligent than the mice,
Yeah.
if it can be passed to a dumb rat, right?
Yeah.
It is genetically passed to us as well.
Yeah.
So let me say it like this. Maybe this is a place where you can begin to love people better.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I know
Yeah.
that's why they respond to me that way. That's why they cope the way they do.
Mm-hmm.
That's why their thinking is what their thinking is. That maybe they didn't have, please hear this, their will was removed
Mm-hmm.
because of generational trauma.
Yeah.
They could not fight it. They didn't even know it was being handed to them.
And so they didn't know how to cope with
They
it
didn't
or
know-
fight it.
That's right. So then we have behaviors to try to deal with it. We always go external to what's happening internal.
So how do we what do we say to people? How do you as you're seeing these and because first of all, as they say in the South, you got to get to the root.
One of my bishops was Caribbean. One of my early mentors, he'd go,
Yeah.
but we have to get to the root. I said, Bishop, what are you saying? I'm from Alabama, man. We call them roots.
But there is a reason that people feel the way they do, experience the things the way they do, and all of those things, and it's not just osmosis where it's stuff that you've learned and that you've been trained to believe and to do.
Yes.
Just like boys we're always taught boys don't cry, men don't cry.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you kidding me?
yeah.
Well, this one does, by the way.
Well, yeah. I have a time or two.
You have a time to do this,
Yes,
right, yeah.
but that's that again. That goes back to what we've learned, and then when we find ourselves in a situation of having to go through stuff, we don't know how to cope with them
right.
because of
Let
that
me give
trauma.
you some coping skills.
Yes.
I'm going to give you one for sure.
Okay.
Go to therapy. Because here's the thing. Think about it like this, kid.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a knee injury,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not coming to a radio station owner.
No.
I'm
Unless
gonna
you want to
go-
ask me about mine.
That's exactly. And you know what you're going to say? Oh, I did physical therapy.
Yep.
I went to the doctor.
Yeah.
You would not try to do surgery on your friend,
No.
and you would not try to become their physical therapist.
No.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So why are we doing that in everyday life when it comes to our mental health?
Because it's what we
were taught. That's right.
and what we experienced.
Right.
And it's the funny thing, not funny, but seriously, I've often wondered why people seek advice from people who are doing worse than they are.
You know what my childhood pastor, Eddie Brand, used to say? Eddie Brand used to say this. He says, he's just a good man, right? He's in Arkansas now. I love him. He's doing so well. But
You know, you do well in Arkansas.
that's right. You're from that place. Oh, my. Good God. Yeah. Eddie Brand used to say, I'm not going to let a fat man tell me how to lose weight, and I'm not going to have a bald man tell me how to grow hair. He used to say that all the time in church. It's so funny. But you're right. We go to people that are doing worse than we are
Yeah.
and going, yeah, help me. No.
Yeah.
No. Let me say
But
this. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
please.
No, you go ahead. No,
No, you go.
you're the counselor.
So what happens is, you know, we will always sink down to the relationships that we're in.
You're gonna have to come back after the break and
that's
explain
not even
that.
trauma there. We're not talking about trauma.
Okay, yeah, but hold on.
gotta
I need to
have
take a
some-
break.
yeah.
I gotta take my final
do it.
break, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna go over for a minute, but
That'd be fine,
yeah,
sure.
we're gonna take a quick break. All right, we're back in our final segment. Kenneth Forte, Matt Wade. We have been talking, getting counseling advice and information sharing. Matt Wade, who is by trade a certified counselor, by the way, just so you know, we're not just making this up. And you know, fortunately, the classes that I got to take in seminary on counseling really, you know, it helps you personally because I start thinking, you know, everything that we talk about is individualistic base. It's individually based in that everybody experiences trauma differently because they've seen it differently. Because everybody doesn't have the same lens.
That's right. And not everybody has the same lived experience.
Yeah, yeah. But before we went to the break, we were talking, just giving some recovery, some things that helpful,
I'm
some
glad
helpful
you reminded
hints.
me because I had forgotten.
No, that's why I'm the host.
You're doing your job. I do mine.
Some helpful hints.
Yeah. So, number one, again, go to therapy. Number two, therapy is not affordable for everybody. Right?
Yep.
You and I were just saying therapy is a privileged thing for a lot of our population.
Yeah.
It is a privileged thing.
Yeah.
And for some of our communities, that's not accessible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So the other thing is this. One way to kind of circumvent, if you can't afford individual therapy, think in terms of group therapy.
Yeah.
Because we're all spreading the cost of that.
Yeah.
The other thing is look for therapists that offer a sliding scale. There are sliding scale therapists right here in Dixon County.
Yeah.
And then you could say, hey, listen, I really need the help. Can you offer me some pro bono sessions? And some therapists have that. Like I have that built in.
Yeah.
I did 3 pro bono sessions a month. And when one complete care, then I would keep 3 on rotation at all times
Yeah.
because I wanted to be able to give back. Some people take advantage of that. That's not my call.
Yeah. That's on them.
That's on them.
Yeah.
They have to go live with themselves about that. Right?
Yep.
So those are the few things I would say. The other thing is this, and this is going to be an odd one for everybody, okay?
Okay.
Pay attention to what your body is telling you.
Yes.
Here's the deal. My brain and my body will misalign frequently. So I will get a signal in my body that my brain cannot really interpret, and I don't have words for it.
Yeah.
Slow down, and even get weird about it. Put your hand on your own chest or your own stomach and ask yourself, what are you trying to teach me right now? What is going on? And if you'll be quiet long enough, your body will tell you exactly what it needs.
Why am I feeling
Why
what
am
I'm
I feeling like? Let me make up a real weird one, okay?
Okay.
Why is it when I go to the family gathering and I get around that uncle? Why does my body kind of go into this weird feeling around that person? You need to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Your built-in smoke alarm is doing its job. Your neuroception is actually working. Or why is it when I talk about a certain subject, I get dysregulated? That could be your body's way of saying you need bigger boundaries. You need to put some boundaries up around your family of origin because they're not safe for you.
Wow.
Why is it then when I don't know, go into this part of the city or when I enter into this kind of conversation, when I eat too much of this kind of food,
Or when I'm around these people.
that something goes off in
Yeah.
me. Pay attention to that. Your body's trying to rescue you from potential trauma. Pay attention. But what if they don't like me? It's better to be unliked than to be traumatized.
Yes.
It's okay. Just be unliked.
Yes.
But don't be traumatized. Don't keep yourself in toxic situations.
Don't be unliked and traumatized.
That's right. It'd be bad because eventually you're going to be unliked anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So I would say we have to look at, and it's our body's way of signaling to us that we're probably more codependent than we want to admit. I know that I am about some things,
Yeah.
right?
We all are.
We all are. We're codependent, right?
Yeah.
On something or someone. So it's our body's way of saying, hey, we need to take care of us. We need to step back and honor what your body's saying because it could save your life.
Wow. Now, Matt is at OnSite.
Yeah,
Well, big shout out to them.
ExperienceOnSite.com.
Okay. ExperienceOnSite.com. He doesn't have any more room in his practice,
No,
his
I do
private
not.
practice.
We had 30-something intensive requests in private practice. I couldn't get all those done in a year if I tried.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's a good radio show.
It's a good. It's good.
Folks, we will post this on our Facebook page as well as on our podcast as well, and we will likely cut up some segments and put them on TikTok since everybody likes to go to TikTok. But Matt, we started out doing this show, and when we talked about it, is to really design to give people as much advice as we possibly can to help them. But if we encourage you, there is a strong community counseling of counselors here.
Oh my gosh, like 15 therapists.
Yeah, therapists here in Dixon County. If you need their assistance or someone in Nashville, we encourage you to do that because you're not alone.
You're not alone.
In dealing with trauma, and sometimes it's the people you least expect who are dealing with it.
Yeah.
But it's not our place to judge people who are dealing with it. We encourage them and pray for them, so that they seek, the assistance and the help that they need, because life is hard,
Oh yes.
and sometimes you just need somebody other than somebody
That's right.
to talk to. Because I have found in my lifetime that everybody has good advice, even if their life is jacked up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They can tell you how you're supposed to live
That's right.
when they're not living that way.
That's right.
So we just encourage you to go check out the show if you missed something, because Matt dropped a lot of nuggets today, golden nuggets, and we just want to encourage you and encourage you, Matt, as well. Keep doing what you're doing because it's making a difference. And thank you, folks, for being a part of the show. Remember, if you have something you'd like for Matt to address when he's here, let us know, and I'll get the word to him, and we will make sure that we're prepared to address that topic during this show. You've been listening to the Power Lunch here on 101.5 The Ride. Up next is more of the John and Heidi Show right here on Dixon's home for your favorite classic hits.